Democratic leaders urge meeting with Trump as government shutdown nears. Washington, September 20th, Reuters. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer and House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries on Saturday called for a meeting with President Donald Trump to avert a government shutdown when funding runs out on September 30. In a letter to Trump, Schumer and Jeffries said Republican congressional leaders have repeatedly and publicly refused to engage in bipartisan negotiations to keep the government open, acting under the president's direction. Healthcare funding remains at the center of the dispute, with Democrats pushing for increased support under the Affordable Care Act and the restoration of cuts to Medicaid that serve low-income Americans. The Democratic position has been clear and consistent, Schumer and Jeffries wrote. We are prepared to work toward a bipartisan spending agreement that improves the lives of American families and addresses the health care crisis created by Republicans. However, we will not support a reckless spending bill that continues the Republican assault on health care. The Senate on Friday rejected a short-term funding measure before leaving town for a week-long recess, further raising the likelihood of a shutdown. Congress has struggled in recent years to pass spending legislation amid growing partisan tensions, repeatedly triggering shutdown threats that leave federal workers unpaid and disrupt a wide range of services. With the September 30 deadline fast approaching, Schumer and Jeffries warned that Republicans will bear responsibility for another painful government shutdown if they continue to refuse bipartisan talks. As a result, it is now your obligation to meet with us directly to reach an agreement that keeps the government open and addresses the health care crisis Republicans have created, the leaders wrote.
U.S. warns sanctuary states over deportation of criminal migrants. Washington, September 20th, Reuters. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security on Saturday warned California, New York, and Illinois, states often referred to as sanctuary states, about their lack of cooperation in deporting undocumented migrants released from prison after serving criminal sentences. In a statement, DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said the department had sent letters last week to the Democratic Attorneys General of the three states, urging them to assist Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, in taking custody of criminal undocumented migrants. Illinois and New York have declined to notify ICE when undocumented offenders are released from state prisons or jails, preventing their transfer into federal custody for deportation. California has not responded to the letter. President Donald Trump, a Republican, launched a strict enforcement campaign after taking office in January, sending additional troops to the southern border and vowing to deport millions of undocumented migrants in the U.S. These dangerous sanctuary policies, often combined with cashless bail for serious crimes, allow criminal undocumented migrants to be released back into American communities, putting lives and public safety at risk, McLaughlin said. She added that ICE sent follow-up letters on Friday to the three states, notifying them that the agency would seek assistance from the Justice Department and other federal partners to ensure compliance. According to McLaughlin, Illinois' Attorney General's office rejected receipt of the letter, underscoring how sanctuary policies have obstructed federal immigration enforcement. DHS has so far apprehended more than 400,000 undocumented migrants, 70% of whom were arrested by ICE on criminal charges or convictions, McLaughlin noted.
Trump's grip on media tightens as ABC suspends Jimmy Kimmel. Los Angeles, September 20th, Reuters. ABC's sudden suspension of late-night host Jimmy Kimmel has sent shockwaves through the U.S. media industry, highlighting President Donald Trump's growing influence over television, entertainment, and digital platforms. The move followed pressure from the Federal Communications Commission, chaired by Trump appointee Brendan Carr, who threatened to revoke broadcast licenses of stations airing what he called garbage. Kimmel's recent remarks about conservative activist Charlie Kirk triggered the backlash. Media analysts warn the decision reflects a broader pattern of Trump leveraging political power to silence critics. Since his re-election, major networks, newspapers, and tech firms have shifted rightward, either under pressure or through leadership aligned with Trump's allies. Disney, ABC's parent company, previously settled a $15 million lawsuit with Trump over comments by anchor George Stephanopoulos. Other media giants, including Paramount and Meta, have also faced political and regulatory pressure. Free speech advocates say the administration's actions, from lawsuits against outlets like the New York Times to threats of regulatory intervention, mark an unprecedented assault on press freedom. This administration has adopted a retaliatory mindset, said veteran CBS journalist Steve Kroft. The news media is clearly their main target. The White House dismissed criticism, with spokesperson Abigail Jackson saying, "Jimmy Kimmel is free to make bad jokes, but private companies aren't obligated to lose money on unpopular shows." Summary: ABC's suspension of Jimmy Kimmel under FCC pressure underscores Trump's tightening control over U.S. media, raising alarm for free speech and government retaliation against critics.
Trump slaps $100,000 annual fee on H-1B visas, delivering a blow to the tech sector. San Francisco, Washington, September 19, Reuters. The Trump administration announced Friday it will require companies to pay $100,000 annually for each H-1B visa, a move that sent shockwaves through the tech sector, which relies heavily on skilled foreign workers, particularly from India and China. The new fee, part of Trump's broader crackdown on immigration, could dramatically increase costs for major tech firms and startups alike. Microsoft, JP Morgan, and Amazon advised employees holding H-1B visas to remain in the U.S. to avoid complications once the rule takes effect. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick defended the measure, saying U.S. companies should train American graduates instead of relying on foreign labor. Critics argue the policy risks driving away top global talent and weakening U.S. competitiveness in areas such as artificial intelligence. More than 70% of H-1B visas go to Indian nationals. Tech giants like Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, and Meta collectively secured tens of thousands of approvals each year. Opponents warn the new cost structure could push firms to relocate high-value jobs overseas. Supporters of the change say the program has been abused to undercut U.S. wages, while immigration advocates question the legality of imposing such steep fees without congressional approval. Alongside the visa overhaul, Trump also signed an order creating a Golden Card program granting permanent residency to foreigners who invest $1 million in the U.S. Summary: Trump's new $100,000 annual fee on H-1B visas threatens to raise costs for tech companies, discourage skilled immigrants, and shift high-value jobs abroad, deepening his administration's aggressive stance on immigration.